on the slide. Okay, next slide. Just a few basic etiquette points, I guess, for this evening. We're all well versed on using Zoom at this point. I'm sure you got a notice just now that we are recording tonight. That's so folks who couldn't make it can check out the meeting after the fact. Make sure you're on mute at all times so we don't hear your pets or TVs in the background. I have 2 pets in the background right now, and I'm hoping that they don't wreak havoc at some point. And then finally, we're going to be going slide by slide through different topics. If you have a question, you can raise your hand, which is at the bottom of your screen. There's a little button that says reactions. And if you click on it, you'll see an option to raise your hand. So if you have a question, just raise your hand when it comes up, and we will respond to those questions at the end of each slide. Okay, so that's the basic point of how tonight's going to go. And again, we're going to try to keep things moving just to get finished. If you're like me, you're still feeling like it's like the middle of the night from the time change. So we want to move through and get everyone's questions answered. So before we begin, we have a short video. Go ahead and click to that slide, Jason. And this was made by PSIA, which is kind of our national governing body. And I think it just really encapsulates the reason why so many of us are here and into adaptive sports, specifically adaptive winter sports. So let's check that video out.
My very first introduction into teaching was actually volunteering for a disabled sports program in Red Lodge, Montana. And there was this little guy there that he was nonverbal, but anytime he saw a snowboard, his face lit up. And then as soon as we got him sliding, it was just this moment of pure joy, like nothing but smiles all day. And that kind of proved to me the impact a snowboard lesson could really have. If it makes you happy, I feel like it makes you a snowboarder.
Skiing and the teaching is just an avenue to help people grow and create more self-awareness and become better people, which is really special.
The challenge, the problem solving, and the critical thinking involved in teaching adaptive, that's really rewarding, and the connection it makes with students, so that's what brought me there.
Definitely when you see others evolving that want to do what you do. You know, that's the proudest moment for me, or that it's evolving. It wasn't just an experiment that that we kind of tried to like see how the adaptive thing fits into the teams, and that it's really viewed as something that people are excited about the level of it.
As a teacher, I mean, if you want to know and really challenge yourself about everything you know about snow sports, try adaptive. And I say this to every instructor that talks to me, say, oh, I never could teach adaptive. And I say every lesson's adaptive. If you've had someone with an ACL injury, and if you've had a senior guest, and if you've dealt with children, I guarantee you've probably encountered a child in the autism spectrum. I think if you think of everyone as adaptive, you can change the whole way that we teach snow sports and make it more inclusive. What if we just assumed everyone needed an adaptive lesson? I think we could redefine how we teach. At the end of the day, we teach empathy, and we teach independence, and we teach freedom.
So I'm sure if any of you returning volunteers, you empathize with that video and its message and have had similar experiences. So like I said, we're excited to get back to that and to introduce all you new folks to that with us this year. Before we begin, I just wanted to quickly introduce the staff so you know who to look for. There's only 4 of us, so it's pretty easy to keep track of who's who. I think we are all pinned in one corner of your screen, but perhaps when you know, we can each kind of wave and unmute as we're going through. So like I said, I'm Camille. I'm the development director, which means I handle all the fundraising for the organization, as well as things like grant writing, donations, our gala, stuff I'll tell you a little bit more about. That's my primary job. But the best part of my job is being on the mountain or being on the lakes and actually instructing or assisting in any way I can with the programs. And I've been on staff for 6 years now. The next person that you'll get to know, and I'm sure you've seen many emails from him at this point, is Jason Klein, who is our Director of Operations. He does so much for the program, and we are so fortunate on a lot of levels. He's been with ASP, I think, going on 11 seasons, and he's one of the best bi-skiers you'll ever see in your entire life. And he's just all around awesome. So you'll hear more from him in a bit. And then next up is Doug, who is the senior most staff member. And Doug, I think you've been around on staff, what, 11 years, 12, something like that?
11.
So he knows all there is to know about adaptive sports. He's our technical and safety director. So if you ever have any questions about how to do something safely or correctly, go to Doug first. And like I said, you'll hear more from everybody. Finally, we are absolutely thrilled to welcome Bonnie Natal, who's most of you know if you've been around the program at all, she onto our staff this year. Bonnie is going to be the new mountain coordinator on the weekends at Ski Santa Fe. She is just an awesome person. How many years have you been volunteering, Bonnie? 12, 14?
I'm not entirely sure. At least I think 10 plus, something like that. I would have to go back and look. It's more than 10 probably. But yeah, I've been working with you guys on the snow for that long, and then I've been working in the rock climbing program as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know most of you up at Santa Fe. So it's going to be a great year. We're going to be back on the snow.
Yay. We're so excited to welcome Bonnie, and she's an OT in her professional life. So huge amounts of experience and knowledge there. And then finally, we can't leave this slide without recognizing Stu Pendleton, who it doesn't seem like he's old enough, but he has been the mountain coordinator at Ski Santa Fe for almost 30 years, I think, at this point. So there's only a handful of people who've been involved longer. He's still going to be around and still going to be working with us, but he has a very kind of intensive full-time job. And so he's passing the torch along to Bonnie. So they will be working together over the course of the season. And if you know Stu, he's wonderful, and be sure to thank him for his many years of service. All right, so that's us. Next slide. I'm going to kick things off and talk about everything that is non-ski related, but still pertinent to the organization. Just to get that out of the way first, and then we'll get to the nitty gritty of why we're all here. So if you've been around ASP at all, you know, you've probably seen our emails or you know the spiel by now. One of our biggest fundraisers of the year are our annual Christmas wreath sales, holiday wreath sales. Basically what that looks like is we bring in anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 evergreen wreaths from a family farm in Oregon. And those usually arrive just before Thanksgiving. And in the past couple of years, we've been selling out in somewhere in the realm of, 7 or 8 days. So it's a huge, huge logistical challenge, but also hugely rewarding for the organization. The wreath sales bring in nearly $50,000 each year. So they're really important. And we always ask our volunteers for help just because there are a lot of moving parts when you're working with 2,000 wreaths. So I want to put the word out there that we could use some help, both in terms of pre-sales. So if you know someone who's going to buy a wreath this year, or if you're going to buy a wreath this year, or if you need a gift for your mother-in-law, buy a wreath. They're beautiful. Everyone loves them. They're $30 and they'll last forever. And it goes to support ASP, which we all love. If not, just share our stuff on social media with anyone that might be interested. In terms of actual volunteer hours associated with the wreaths arrive in a full-size semi-truck just before Thanksgiving, which means next week sometime. And we have a small team, a small but sturdy team of folks who help unload the 2,000 wreaths into a trailer and into a garage. It's a lot of physical hard work. And if you're interested in being a part of that and getting your workout on please contact me. The hard part with that is that I can't give you an exact date and time because the truck comes when the truck comes. At this point, they're telling me it'll be either Monday or Tuesday of next week. So if you're interested and you think it might be a possibility, reach out to me and I'll get your email or text, and then I can just call you or text you when I have a better sense of when the wreaths are coming. And if it works out, we'd love to have your help. Like I said, it is kind of hard, labor intensive work. Let's see. The second area where we need help is with our wreath sales. Last year, we did not do any public sales, and that was a change for us. So we're excited to get back out there. This is one of our few kind of really public facing events. And so it brings a lot of not only wreath sales, but a lot of new volunteers or athletes who may not know about our program. And so it's very easy to volunteer. We have shifts in Santa Fe at Connie's, the grocery store, and Albuquerque at REI. And you can see the dates listed there. And basically you just sign up for a shift. You help however's needed, either, asking people if they want to sell a wreath, helping bag them up, put bows on, etc. It's very fun. It'll be nice to be out there. The weather will be good. So if you're interested, again, reach out to me or look on our website, and there's forms to sign up for those shifts. And we'd really appreciate the help. Okay, any questions about wreaths? If not,
Alec asked a good question about a download link for the pre-sale forms. And I don't have that here, but it is on our website under the wreath section of the website, which is under support.
Yeah, thanks for asking that, Alec. It's on there. And then I see Joe is asking, we have 2 sizes available. The basic size, kind of the standard that we all know, is $30. And then the bigger wreaths are $50. And you have up until next week to pre-order your wreaths. Okay, moving on. So just a few things I want to give you a heads up about. Again, we're a nonprofit, which means every dollar that we bring in is money that we raise to support the program. So there's 2 things happening right now that I just wanted everyone to be aware of. You may have seen, if you shop at La Montanita Co-op, either in Santa Fe or Albuquerque, we are their nonprofit of the month, which is great because it's November and a lot of people will be doing grocery shopping for Thanksgiving. And so they're doing a little program where if your bill is $1.80, they ask if you want to round up to the next dollar, $2, and that comes directly to ASP. So we're just really excited. It spreads our name out in a larger community. So if you have any friends or if you're doing any shopping this month and want to support ASP, head out to La Montanita. And then secondly, we have we always do a year-end fundraising campaign because, of course, we rely on donors to sustain our operations. And this year we decided to do a little something extra special for our donors. So we have 2 things. One is a neck gaiter, which is especially, oh, thanks, Jason, for holding it up. I also have one here. They're very cute. They're multi-season. You can see me that in the photo. That's the best picture ever taken of me, courtesy of Jason, fully masked up. But they're really nice, and obviously with everything going on, very useful in this day and age. And then also, we know that, we're always driving up to the ski basin. So why not have a little front license plate that shows, we're ASP people. And so these are pretty cool. And I've already sent a few of them out to people who have donated. So when you donate this year, if you're looking to donate, just know you might get a little extra swag in the mix. And then one last thing, if you work with any sort of a big company like the labs, they tend to have a lot of programs to support their employees' volunteerism. So sometimes they'll match donations or they'll give a grant just because you volunteer with ASP. So be sure to check that out and see if there's any opportunities to support ASP. And, we really appreciate it and rely on that support. So that's it for fundraising. One last thing, a very quick thing. Next slide, please. Oh, and Alec reminded me, also, don't forget when you're doing your holiday shopping that you can set ASP as your beneficiary on Amazon. And so you go to smile.amazon.com and then you search the list, type in Adaptive Sports Program New Mexico. And when you do that, a certain percentage of your purchases come back to ASP. And I mean, I know I spend a lot of money on Amazon throughout the year. And so if everyone who was involved with the organization set their program to do that, we could definitely get some significant support. So just be sure to take the time to check out smile.amazon.com. Finally, fingers crossed, we will be back with our biggest fundraiser of the year, the Snowball, on March 19th of next year, assuming everything goes to plan. We had to cancel the past 2 years, 2020 and 21, which obviously has been very difficult for the organization. That gala usually accounts for 1/3, almost a third of our annual revenue. So, you know, that was a huge blow for us. So we're so excited to get back to it in a safe way. You'll hear more about this as the time comes, but just know I'm putting the word out early. If you're interested in helping with this event, we always want help. We need members on our committee. We need sponsors, silent auction items, and ticket buyers. So if you have any interest at all, or you just want to say, hey, tell me more about the Snowball, be sure to reach out to me and I'll be sure I would love to chat with you about how to get involved. Okay. And with that, that is all the non-ski stuff. I think I'm done. There's no other questions. So I am going to go ahead and pass it off to Jason. Thank you so much.
Actually, we're going to go to Doug, I believe.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Camille. That was awesome. Doug, you're on mute.
There we go. First thing I wanted to say is how much I miss everyone and how excited I am to get back to normal operations this year. Jason, do you mind pulling up the website for the COVID operations plan?
Can everyone see that?
What's that?
Can you see that?
I can, yes. Basically, we're going to follow all federal, state, local, and Ski Santa Fe guidelines, depending on what they are and if they change during the year. We will keep up to date with those. Right now at Ski Santa Fe, you only have to wear a mask if you are inside. As of now, they're not requiring masks in the lift lines or on the lifts, but that may change. One thing that we are requiring is that all staff, volunteers, and participants who are eligible will be required to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 prior to participating with ASPNM. I know some people are not going to be thrilled about that decision, but all the big adaptive sports organizations made that call. And, you know, if 9 out of 10 adaptive sports organizations are requiring vaccinations and you don't require vaccinations, that can be a problem. So that is the stance we are going with. I have some friends that work at Lanel that did not want to get vaccinated, and it came down to their job and they decided to get vaccinated. I know someone who works for the state who decided to go ahead and retire early because he did not want to get vaccinated. So that is our vaccination policy, is that you are required to be vaccinated. Next slide, Jason. So ASP footprint, okay? We are no longer going to be meeting inside the lodge. Okay, we're going to be meeting in the shed, and we're going to have a couple tables underneath the tent next to the shed. For those of you at Ski Santa Fe, no personal gear will be stored in the shed, which means everybody needs to come to the shed dressed. You need to get dressed at your car, leave your excess stuff at the car, and come up to the shed and then meet for your lesson. Season pass holders can store their skis and poles in there, as always. But as far as your day-to-day bag, you need to leave that in your car. We are not going to be congregating in the lodge, and you're not to be getting ready in the lodge, especially the volunteers. Does anyone have any questions on that? I'm sure someone might have a question. That is a new procedure that we're going to be doing this year at Ski Santa Fe. Both Pajarito and Sandia will be the same as always, but at Ski Santa Fe will not be in the cafeteria this year. All right, that's all I have. I'm going to hand it back over to Jason. He's going to discuss the multi-week program schedule.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. So again, I just want to thank everyone for being here. You know, I know last year was really rough on all of our athletes, on all of our volunteers, and our organization. I mean, it was devastating not to be able to have everyone up there in our normal capacity. So I thank you for hanging in there with us and you know, coming back to join us this year. And for all the new volunteers that are here on this meeting, thank you so much for your interest. And I truly hope that you come to love this program just as much as we all do. And we're very excited to have you here. One thing I wanted to do for the new volunteers that are here is just kind of explain a little bit about how our program works. So the first thing that you need to know is that an individual with a disability, they are called an athlete. They're referred to as athletes for our program. So an athlete has basically two different ways that they can come ski with us. They can join us in private lessons, which basically open up as soon as the season opens at Ski Santa Fe. We've done private lessons on Thanksgiving Day before. And they pretty much go through the end of the season, either late March or early April. We'll stop doing private lessons. They do only happen at Ski Santa Fe, whereas our multi-week program operates on 3 different mountains. In similarity, they operate the same way as far as times. There's a morning lesson and an afternoon lesson to choose from for the athletes. All lesson times are from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock for the morning and 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. for the afternoon. One unique thing about private lessons is they can choose to do a full day lesson. So they could come ski with you in the morning, take a break for lunch, and then you could ski with the same athlete again in the afternoon. And we'll typically get kind of a lot of those type of lessons happening over our holiday breaks, Martin Luther King, President's Day, you know, Christmas break, New Year's break, and our big one is spring break. Spring break's always hard to get the private lessons covered because it's at the end of our multi-week program. All the volunteers are tired and burnt out, but yet we still have a whole nother month of skiing left to fulfill. So I do encourage all volunteers to come and join us for private lessons. It's a great way to gain more experience, just because it's just a little bit more low key. It's not the stress of, you know, 15 athletes showing up at one time. It can be a really enjoyable experience because a lot of times the family will come out and ski with you. And so you make friends with the whole entire family, and then, you know, you're friends with them on Facebook for the next 5 years and they come see you again. So it's a great opportunity to really be an advocate for our program and for Ski Santa Fe in general. A lot of the people that come visit us because we have an adaptive program very close to Texas and Oklahoma. And so it's a huge draw for a lot of families. We do have a goal that we kind of tend to shoot for every year, and we try to teach around 100 plus private lessons. And we already have a bunch actually signed up. And in a little bit, I'm going to go over that and show you what that looks like. But the second option for an athlete, and this is kind of more geared towards our local New Mexico residents, is the multi-week program. So this operates at Ski Santa Fe, Sandia Peak, and Pajarito. At Ski Santa Fe, it operates Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Thursdays is normally a school day. Unfortunately, this particular year, it's probably not going to be much of a school day. because some of our regular schools are having transportation issues with COVID. They're short on bus drivers and also money to be able to pay for their students to come join us. So we're going to kind of open up Thursday just as a regular day, just like Saturdays and Sundays. The one different day is Fridays. That's reserved for disabled veterans. And it actually runs kind of completely different too. We have 2 3-week programs for the Friday veterans group. So the first 3 weeks of the program, the 21st, the 28th, and February 4th, is going to be a group of 15 veterans, and they come ski with us all day long. So they join us at, for the morning lesson at 10 a.m. And then we have lunch with them, and then we ski again in the afternoon. And then the second 3 weeks, February 11th, 25th, and March 4th, we're going to have 15 new veterans come and join us. That way, we're able to offer adaptive ski lessons to 30 veterans, which is pretty awesome, I think. At Sandia Peak, we operate on Saturdays and Sundays, and I will say that is, contingent on snow. But for the most part, we've been able to hold our Saturday and Sunday program there pretty regularly. So we're hopeful for that. And then at Pajarito, we operate a school program on Wednesdays. And this year, the program had so much interest that we had to add another day. We had 4 schools that were interested. So we had to split the 4 schools up into 2 different days. So January 5th and 12th, we'll do 2 schools. And then the 19th and 26th, we'll have another 2 schools come and join us. So that program just keeps growing and growing. Eventually, the goal there is to have enough volunteers there that want to participate at that mountain that we can open up a weekend program there as well. Are there any questions at this point before I move on to training? Looks like Doug's been answering those in the chat. Thank you, Doug. Okay, volunteer training. And I will say, again, this is contingent on snow. As I look up at the mountain right now, there is no snow. So hopefully we're going to get a big storm for Thanksgiving, I hear. Fingers crossed. But we're planning on having volunteer training December 16th through 19th, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Ski Santa Fe. And then again, in January, we're going to have it January 9th, which is Sunday, the 12th, and the 13th, which is Wednesday and Thursday. The one thing that we are limiting this time are the number of volunteers that we're going to have on the mountain during a training session. And this is, again, just to help what Doug was talking about, manage our footprint and be aware of our impact on the mountain. So during the weekdays, we're going to limit those numbers to 50 volunteers. Keep in mind, I have to save some of those spots for the clinic leaders. And then on the weekends, we're going to limit that to 30. So that with the 7 training days, hopefully that we'll be able to have, that's 290 training spots. So that's, not enough for everyone to attend every single day of training that they would want to or need to. So the idea is that if you are an individual that can attend a weekday training and save the weekend spots for the people that work all week and that can only attend training during the weekend, please do so. That'll help free up a lot of those spaces, and we'll be able to have room hopefully for everyone that way. The goal that we try to achieve with our volunteers is a new volunteer coming in for their first year to attend 4 days of training. A second to 5th year is 2 days of training, and then 6+ years, 1 day of training. So what I'm going to say is, if you are a returning volunteer, don't, try not to take up too much of the available spots. Come to your 2 days and save it for all the other volunteers that need to come to their 2 days and 4 days. And if you are a new volunteer and you don't make it to all 4, by no means does that mean that you're not going to be eligible to volunteer with us this year. When we pair you up with your athlete, you're going to be with an experienced volunteer anyways. So basically, you're just going to get continued on the job training from that point on. We're going to be opening up training November 20th, along with the registration. I got a bunch of emails out to all our clinic leaders, so we're going to hopefully have a whole bunch of awesome clinics for everyone to take. The idea of the way this is going to work is you're going to sign up for the day that you want to come. So out of these available 7 days, when you register, you're going to select which days you're going to come to training. And then once you get there, there's going to be all kinds of different papers out on the table where you're going to pick which clinic you would like to attend. So there'll be, bi-ski clinics, mono-ski clinics, all kinds of clinics for you. The one thing I would like to say about new volunteers is we do have a new volunteer clinic. This is kind of an orientation to the way our program operates and where things are located, at least at Ski Santa Fe, and kind of what you would do in certain scenarios, in certain situations, if presented with. And that training is only going to be offered 3 days, December 16th, 18th, and January 9th. So if you are a new volunteer, please try your very hardest to make it to at least one of those 3 days to attend that training. And Elaine said, are the new volunteers identical or sequential? And they are identical. So you just need to attend one of those. And then after you attend that one, you're free to take whatever type of clinic you have interest in doing, whether it's a bi-ski clinic or a visually impaired clinic, anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to take you, so I created a step-by-step thing on our website of the steps you need to take to become a volunteer. And all of a sudden there was 9 steps and I freaked out because I was like, no one's going to want to do 9 steps to become a volunteer. But I promise you it's not that bad. Most of it is turning a couple papers in and just registering for stuff. So the first step that you're going to get an email on Saturday, the 20th. He's saying, registration is now open, and it's going to have a link that's going to take you to this volunteer page of our website. So you're going to scroll down and you're going to see the volunteer checklist for the 2022 ski season. And here's all 9 steps. And basically what we need you to do is pretty much every single volunteer is going to need to, every returning volunteer probably is going to need to renew their background check. Right now, there's a total of 21 people that actually have a valid background check that won't expire till like June, July of 2022. If you are curious, if you are one of those people, please email me and let me know. Or you can log into your account and also check that yourself. But so everyone will need to redo their background check. Complete a safe sport training. So this is mandatory because of our insurance for any volunteer that works on lessons with minors. And Doug is going to get into this in further detail. But when he does, I will show you where and what that training looks like. But we do encourage all of our volunteers to take it because it has, very valuable life lessons and good information for you to know, in other situations besides what you're presented with here at Adaptive Sports Program. I will state that the name of the training you need to take is Safe Sport Trained, Move United, and it does cost $20. Some people have been taking a couple other trainings that are free, and I just want to specify that this one that we need you to take for insurance reasons does have a cost to it. Camille, could you please keep an eye on the chat and let me know if I need to address anything?
Will do.
I
Quick
think
question.
Yeah,
If
people have been asking if they need to do it more than once. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, Camille. There.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Great question, and thank you. And Doug will speak to that, but the answer is, as of right now, no. Eventually, there will be a requirement to take a refresher course, and that refresher course is available on the Safe Sport Training website as of now, but as of right now, it's not a requirement to take that. Great question. One thing that we did in our kind of 2020 shutdown was we updated our policies and procedures. And we asked that as a volunteer, you familiarize yourself with those policies and procedures, because you are an ambassador for us, an ambassador for whichever establishment you're at, whether that be Ski Santa Fe, Pajarito, Sandia, Elephant Butte Lake. You're always representing that company or place, and also us. So just familiarize yourself with those procedures. Be aware that we do have a vaccine policy in place now. So if you do want to participate, you will need to be vaccinated. And then we have a volunteer commitment form. And Bonnie's going to go over this in detail in just a second. But I just wanted to show you, basically, you're going to download this form. It's a PDF, and you can digitally sign it and send it back to me. And that's all I need you to do with that. It's pretty painless. From there, you registered for your teaching day. And I want, if you're a new volunteer, you would close this box and you would, fill out this form in its entirety. And that'll help create your account. If you're an existing volunteer, already have an account, you can just log in. And I just want to quickly show you what you're going to do this year. So everyone, when you register, you're going to have to attest that you have read the COVID-19 policy and that you confirm you're fully vaccinated, and that you may be required or asked to show your proof of vaccination. So when you register, here's the schedule again, but you're going to choose a first choice volunteer day, second choice, and third choice. If we have, Thursdays has always been one of our biggest days at Ski Santa Fe. And, this year it might be a little bit lower because we don't have all those school groups coming. So if I have, 35, 40 volunteers sign up for Thursday, but we don't have that many athletes, obviously we can't have that many volunteers, just skiing around without lessons. So we might have to manipulate where each volunteer is this year, so that we are asking for your 3 choices in that regard. Then you're going to sign up for, your training, like I said earlier. And I'm already logged in, so it just takes me straight to this page. Yes, I've had my vaccination. And so here you're going to say, okay, I'm able to come to training on Thursday, Saturday. I'm a brand new volunteer, so I needed to make it to 4 days. I'll do Sunday, January 9th, and then Wednesday. And then you submit that, and I have it in that you're going to attend those 4 days, and then that'll secure your volunteer spot for those days. I hope that's pretty painless. The last 2 things I need from you is your liability and media release. When you click on this, you're going to do steps number 1 and 2, your release of liability, and then your media release. If you really don't want me to take pictures or something, please make me aware of that, and try not to be in any pictures that we take. And then last but not least, we have ASPNM badge. And this is how you redeem, I meant to tell you about this earlier, but this is how you redeem a ski voucher. Every day that you teach a full day worth of lessons, or every day that you teach a full day private lessons, you're presented with a ski voucher that you can redeem as skier services, either at Sandia or Ski Santa Fe. And you need your ASPNM badge to do that. So my archive has tons of volunteers in it that are no longer volunteering, and I just don't want to print a whole bunch of badges that are useless. So I'm asking that everyone sends me in a new picture and you tell me how you want your name displayed on the badge, and then I will do my best to get those for you by training. Any questions at this point, Camille?
So Doug's been doing a good job of answering questions in the chat. I think the only one that hasn't been answered, 1 or 2, is Diane asked how much the background check is.
$20.
Sorry, say that again.
It is $20 as well.
Okay, $20. And then I think Mark is the only other unanswered question, and he was just asking if clinic leaders sign up in the same fashion as those who are attending clinics.
No, Mark, I have you down and I've reserved spots for the clinic leaders already. So unless you have a conflict with the day you've already told me, then no worries there.
Okay. I think all the other questions got answered in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Doug and Camille. I know I'm talking a lot, but I just want to go over one other thing of how we're going to handle athlete bios, progress reports, and then how everyone can view their private lessons this year. So also on the volunteer page, there's this volunteer ski and snowboard center. These are all password protected pages, just so that the random viewer who comes upon our website can't look at these. But so that right now the password is volunteers rock. There's no space and there's no capitals, it's all lowercase. So volunteers rock. And this is what it's going to look like. So here's an example of the current private lessons we have as of right now. I can spell. So it'll take you to this page and you can click here to view private lesson schedule. So I will still be sending out the weekly emails with everyone's who just registered. But if you want to know as of like right now, maybe who else signed up recently or something, you can come onto this page and check this out. So these are all true lessons that have signed up that we're going to need to get covered. And this will actually be going out to you guys fairly shortly. But say you wanted to know more information, you're interested in doing the bi-ski lesson with Justin Fuller, okay? So you can go back to our website. You can either do it from right here or go back to the volunteer page and say view athlete bios. Now, the one thing I'll say about this page is that this is personal information about these individuals. So I've made it so that you cannot print these PDFs, but I ask that you please don't take pictures with your phone, no screenshots on your computer. There's really no reason that you would have to save this information. It's basically for you to take, a mental screenshot and just kind of know a little bit more about that individual so you can better assess if you want to take that lesson or not. I'm not going to show you his information on the Zoom meeting. I'm just going to do the test account. So you could open this up and you could view such information as, what their disability is, or their height, their weight, obviously this is a test account, so I don't have information filled in here, but what current activities they might do. And this is only as good as the information that individual put in there, but it definitely will help give you a sense. So then say you do your lesson with Justin Fuller. It was great. And even though it's a private lesson, you want to do a progress report on him. You can come over to the progress report page. By the way, this is going to be the same for private lessons and for the multi-week program. So no longer are there are going to be lesson boxes up there with these bios. Since there is internet, at Ski Santa Fe now, these pages will be viewable on your phone. The goal is to get some computers up there as well so that we can have access to this information. For Sandia, I can still do the printed pages if we need to. Okay, so they're going to be designated if they're a multi-week athlete or if it's a private lesson. But you could come in here and fill this out. The lesson date, it's a multi-week private. If it was a multi-week, which week was it? What kind of skier, snowboarder is he? The progression level of each. What adaptive equipment was used. What kind of runs you did, blue, green, black, what slopes, what lifts. If there's any notes that you need to put in there about, they need padding under their left hip. The instructors that worked on that lesson, accomplishments and goals for the next one. And the idea is that at the end of the year, I'm going to take all these progress reports and I'm going to stick them into their bio for next year. So when you click on view bio, you'll see those first 2 pages, but then you'll have an ongoing progress report record digitally for every single person that's come to ski with us. And I think that's going to be huge for, the success of our lessons and progress of our students. The caveat is, we're starting kind of from scratch this year. So bear with me and understand that, there might be need to assess your athlete once you meet them instead of look on the previous progress report. Any questions on that part? And no, we're not going to do the bios on our veterans. Kat, good question. Progress reports, I don't know about yet. Okay. If a scholarship is needed to cover a background check, perfect. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to, I believe, Bonnie. Yes, Bonnie. Take it away, Bonnie. Thank you very much, everybody.
Awesome. And Jason, I'm going to have you actually pull that volunteer commitment form up for us to take a peek at it. It's really pretty simple, and I don't want to beat it into the ground too much, but I do want to kind of look at the number 5. So we're asking for you guys to really make a commitment to not just to us, but to the athletes that you're working with, that you're going to be able to show up January through March and really work with them. You'll find that you develop relationships with your athletes, especially these multi-week athletes, and you want to see them succeed. So I wanted you to think about it in that way, that you're committing to come as many days as you can. The 8 to 10 days in this the section right here includes training sessions. So keep in mind that it's not that we need you for 10 days. It's that it could be up to 10 days if you're doing a 6-week program and then 4 days of training. So we want you to really kind of think about this as the full season and not just 1 or 2 weekends. That you're going to be able to help these athletes out. And then number 6, so we know that sometimes you're going to be absent or you're going to have a trip that you're going to need to go out of town. If you can do the best you can to get yourself coverage, if you know about it in advance, then that's really going to help your athlete out a lot as well. And then something that we hadn't talked about, we talked a little bit about the COVID screening or the vaccine policy, but also we have a COVID screening that we're doing basically every day, saying, I'm well enough to be on the mountain. And so part of that is also kind of keeping an eye on your own personal health, so that if you're not feeling well, let us know as quickly as possible. And anything you can do to minimize that risk is going to be really helpful as well, to make sure that you can be there. And I also kind of want to talk a little bit about if there's we've all had a little bit of a break from skiing, if not skiing, from teaching adaptive. And we all know what a toll it can take on your body, especially if you're working with a more physical lesson. So I want you guys to really think about not just yourselves, but also the athletes that you're working with. We've all had a long few years, and we might have been able to do something 2 years ago, and really be honest with yourself if you're physically capable of doing that. Still, now's a good time to start some exercise programs if you need to do that, to kind of get yourself back into shape. But do your best to avoid injuries as well, because we'd like to have you on the mountain as much as we can, and our athletes as well. And I think that's really all that we have for this form. The rest of it's pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay, Doug.
Okay, guys, we just wanted to show you, if you go to our website and you go under Safe Sports Trained, where you at, Jay? There we go.
Hold on.
So complete safe sports online training. You click that button. Clearly, we would be the organization that has the adaptive athlete on the front. Right. But you would be wrong. That is not us. We are the one all the way over here where it says completed. Safe Sports Trained, Move United. And one of the ways that you know this is the correct course is because you have to pay $20. So make sure you do the right course. I actually did the wrong one. I was just going by the picture. I also want to talk about the spirit of inclusion. Okay, we're an adaptive organization with many different types of people from many different backgrounds. Okay, we would like to include everyone. So we want to use terms that are inclusive to everyone feeling welcome. Okay, so for those of you that I've had conversations with in the past about some of your vocabulary, let's really kind of make sure that we are really keeping ourselves open to include everyone, regardless of, you know, gender or transgender or gay or race or whatever someone may be expressing themselves. You know, we really want to make sure that we're not a, you know, closed off club and we're excluding people from our organization. We really want everyone to feel welcome here and keep any kind of negative comments out of our vocabulary, especially while we're there. The last thing I'd like to talk about, and this is something we talked about briefly earlier with we're not meeting in the cafeteria, is Adaptive Sports NM's footprint at Ski Santa Fe, especially on the weekends. We really want to be conscientious of lift lines. You know, some people feel that being part of our organization gives you extra rights to the mountain. It actually does the opposite, where you are now an ambassador for the mountain. So if you and someone else get to the lift line at the exact same moment, they get to go first. This year, we will not be putting a third person on any lessons. Even for training, we are going to limit the amount of instructors to the maximum of 2. We also want to be conscientious of our jackets. I mean, it's one thing if you show up in your jacket and do one run before your lesson, but let's say you don't have a morning lesson, but you have an afternoon lesson. Maybe it's not the best thing to wear the adaptive sports jacket with 3 other volunteers and all get in line and get on the lift and ski all morning. It's very obvious that during those morning hours, you know, we're maybe not volunteering. And so we just really want to kind of lessen the overall view of adaptive sports. We just don't want to take over the mountain and have 100 orange jackets all over the place. So on days that you're skiing personally, please don't wear your jacket. If you're not, have a lesson in the morning, maybe wear your personal jacket in the morning and wear the adaptive jacket in the afternoon. I'm not saying you can't just do one run in the morning warming up, but if you're not, you know, if you're not there on adaptive sports business, please wear your personal jackets, just because we are trying to limit the appearance of adaptive sports taking over any of the mountains. Does anyone have any questions about that? I can see the chat box going off here. Did I miss anything? No, it looks like I'm okay.
There is one question about protocol, and this is going back to the earlier discussion. Protocol for if people are feeling sick, but are COVID negative. And Jason or Doug, you can jump in here, but I think the answer is we have a list of kind of symptoms that we're on the lookout for, and those are listed on various forms, and they're things like cough, sore throat, loss of smell, fever. And so I would say oh, there they are. Thanks, Jason. If you're feeling unwell, or if you have any of those symptoms, we would ask that you stay home, even if you have a negative COVID test, just because we're trying to be extra safe this year and really make sure that we are not a source of any sort of spreading from our program.
Err on the side of caution.
Yeah, thank you.
Suzanne, you raised your hand.
Yeah, Doug, I was wondering if you could explain, especially to the new volunteers, why it is that we want to limit our footprint on the mountain, and what Ski Santa Fe does to support our program that makes that so important for us to do.
So Ski Santa Fe donates upwards of $200,000 in lift tickets every year to our organization for both our volunteers and athletes during days of participation. And then they give the volunteers an additional voucher so they can ski on their own. Full price of those tickets are, I believe, right around $100 now. And we don't want to interfere with their business procedures. We just want to be in their way as little as possible. The cafeteria is their largest revenue generating building per square foot on the entire area. And we just want to respect that and give them room to conduct their business. We don't want to be seen as a burden or a hindrance. They have gotten awful used to us over the last 30 years being around there. However, last year we weren't really around. And I can't say that, the cafeteria staff, wasn't brokenhearted on Saturday morning when we weren't blocking their door or their elevator. I do know that on, a popular Saturday weekend, the lift guides were not, very completely upset that we weren't holding up the lift lines, trying to get our students on and off the lifts. There's always going to be some of that going on just by the nature of our business. However, we can minimize it. We can make it as little as possible. We can try to, kill them with kindness and stay out of their way and just make their operations go as smoothly as possible. So we're seen as an asset, not a hindrance or not in the way or not a burden. We want to be seen as a contributing member of one of the organizations that operate on the Hill and provide a service to the Hill and that kind of thing. Is that kind of what you were thinking, Suzanne?
Yes, thank you.
Doug, if you could also, on this slide, there's a clinic that we offer, Child Protections Clinic, and some people might be confused of what the difference is between Safe Sport and Child Protections.
So the online Safe Sports Clinic is required by our insurance company to conduct lessons with minors. And this is not actually just us, Adaptive. It's any child sports going on whatsoever. My daughter's in gymnastics and they have their same version of it. I work at the YMCA and they have their same version of it. So that is an insurance requirement. The Child Protections Clinic offered at training is just a conversation about the online safe sports, but it's also lets you know how to operate within our system, in the safe sports way, meaning, don't have a child inside the shed with the door shut. What is the definition of being alone with a child? Are you alone with the child if it's just you and the student on a lift? And it kind of gives us, a lot of definitions on how you can take what you've learned on online safe sports online and apply it to what we're really doing on a day-to-day basis.
Great, thank you. I have a question from Jean Porteous. How long is the safe sport training? It is about a 60-minute online course, but you can pause it and pick it up at your convenience whenever you like. So you could start it on a Monday and finish it on a Friday, and just work on the little bits at a time, or you can knock it all out at once. And just another thing, it does say on the website, but once you do take the safe sport training, please send me that certificate, so I'll have it on file. Doug, are you done with your section?
I am, yes.
Okay, thank you so much, man. I just want to quickly talk about PSIA and AASI. So like Camille said at the beginning, they're kind of our governing body of ski instruction in general and snowboard instruction in general for America. And they have alpine, telemark, snowboard, and then they also have adaptive sides of this. And we had a couple, an examiner come 2 years ago, and we got 8 of our volunteers PSIA certified with their level 1 cognitive VI certification. And that's a huge testament for our program, because we are adding to the actual certified trainers that we have in our program. So it's something that I encourage everyone to, if they're truly interested in adaptive sports or, you know, teaching skiing as a side job or a profession in general, like look this up and become a member. You can become a member if you go to the snowpros.org. You can become a member and you automatically get certain benefits. You get all kinds of pro deals for one, which is awesome, but you have access to a huge resource of online videos and training, and just a wealth of knowledge and books. And in the hopes that you will become certified later, that's their intent. First, become a member, pay for the membership, get online pro deals, get education training, and then, you know, as you get more familiar with it and more skiing under your belt in this type of education, then you can, you know, become certified. So just speaking to that, I think it's a great resource, and I do encourage everyone to look it up. I think we're about done. Are there any more questions, Camille, that we need to address?
I'm pretty sure that they've all been answered unless anyone has any additional questions. Diane, the safe sport training is $20. That one just came up. Any other questions? The one thing I would emphasize for any new volunteers or even returning volunteers is all the kind of processes that we showed you today for tracking new lessons or tracking the progress of your student. Just know we'll review that many times after today. You don't need to memorize what was said today, but we wanted to kind of give everyone a certification, an overview of what the season's going to look like. Oh, sorry, Diane. She was asking, how much is the certification for PSIA, Jason?
It's not just a certification. There's all kinds of clinics that you have to take to actually get certified. So you're paying for, you know, the training classes for about 3 different trainings. So it's an investment of around, let's just say $400 to $500. But to sign up and have access to the e-learning, the videos, and then the pro deals, that's $120 a year, I believe. So like Camille said, if there's any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out, call me, email me. I'll be happy to go over any of that kind of stuff that we did online today in depth with you. And then we'll have, you know, time to go over this in training and stuff like that as well. So I think we're ready for my favorite part of this whole event. And we're going to pass it off to John Renna and Jackie Addis. They're going to lead us in our prayer to the snow gods so that we start getting some snow coming.
Where do you? Okay, can you hear me?
Let me stop sharing, John, and we can hear you.
You can? Okay, great.
Hello.
Hey, I'm John Renna.
And I'm Jackie Addis.
And we've been with the program since the winter of 99 and 2000. So 22 years this season. With last year, of course, we didn't do much. But we need help this year with the snow gods, okay? As you all know, how much drought our state has had, and the winter forecast doesn't look good. But we can change that. And that's what we're going to do tonight.
Bring it, John.
So,
with our intention of bringing snow.
Bringing snow to New Mexico. Okay. Now, I just, you know, usually we do this in one big group, but it's kind of cool that we do it all over the state. Wherever you guys are now, in your houses, we're going to do this, and it's going to have a huge impact on our weather patterns. Okay, so let me just review for those of you who are new, there's 4 steps to this snow dance, okay? The first one is the stomp, okay?
You gotta get up.
I'm gonna show demonstrate. We will do the stomp, which is gonna get the snow god's attention. The second step is to do the search, okay? And we're gonna look for the weather, okay? And then the third step is the wind, okay? So the wind's gonna come through and bring the storms to us. And then the last step is the snow, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say New Mexico, and then we'll do snow, okay? So I'm gonna put on my gear here.
You
I need
gotta
you-
stand up
I
for this.
need you all to stand up, get out of your seats.
Don't we have to put that back?
Yeah, here we go, that's good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, Doug. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna start with a stomp. So you're gonna lift your legs up high. You're gonna stomp your feet. You're gonna stomp, 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 stomp. Okay, now we're gonna do the search. We're gonna look all directions, looking for the storm.
It's dangerous here.
Okay, now the wind comes. Bringing in the storm. And then we've got New Mexico, snow. New Mexico, snow. New Mexico,
Snow.
New Mexico,
Mexico, snow.
Okay, we're gonna do this one more time. Okay, we gotta seal the deal here.
You gotta move and get
It's
off
okay.
this. No,
Everyone unmute.
Okay. Everybody, yeah, unmute, unmute, unmute.
Here
we go. All right. Come on, Snow. Like the rubber duckies. Yeah.
Now it's search. Search. We're looking for that cloud and the snow.
Bring it on.
Coming to us. Okay, here come the winds. The winds are coming. The winds are coming. Bringing the storms to us. And now we have New Mexico.
New Mexico. Snow.
New Mexico, snow. New Mexico, snow.
New Mexico,
snow.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John and Jackie.
Thank
I think that did it.
All right. Be positive. We're gonna have a great
Open
season
for
this year.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right.
That was awesome. Thank you, John and Jackie.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. I think we'll call it a wrap for tonight. Thank you so much for attending,
Thank you.
and we'll hopefully see you in December for training. Look out for emails, and this Saturday, we're gonna open up registration. So if you do have any problems or anything registering, just give me an email. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.